I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend the remarks and include extraneous material on the topic of this special order.
Without objection, so ordered.
Madam Speaker, our country is facing a crisis of our own making. Republicans and Democrats alike have contributed to the rampant spending in Washington over the last several decades. But it's time for someone to stand up and say enough is enough. I'm here tonight with some of the greatest minds in Congress to talk about our floor-ready plan to tackle wasteful spending and restore fiscal responsibility to the federal government. In December, Republican Study Committee Chairman Jim Banks asked me to lead the budget task force for the 117th Congress, and I gladly accepted. I put together a team of incredible fiscal conservatives to help prepare our fiscal year 22 budget. Thank you to these intelligent, hardworking colleagues for rising to the occasion, working diligently to meet our ambitious goals, and putting together a fine product that will serve all Americans. That's Chairman Jim Banks, Roger Williams, Trent Kelly, Ralph Norman, Ron Estes, Michael Cloud, Ben Klein, Byron Donalds, and Bob Good. Thank you, gentlemen. In addition to my task force members, I'd like to thank a man who is integral to the work of the task force and is a huge reason for the success of this final budget, Richard Stern. When I said yes to drafting the budget for FY22, I committed to creating a thorough, floor-ready budget that reflects the conservative values that gave us the greatest economy in the history of the world before the pandemic. I believe, as do my colleagues, that the pro-growth policies of the Trump administration are proven tactics to grow the economy and give Americans more control of their own money. Everyone in Washington seems to forget that we have no money of our own. Everything we appropriate in this chamber, every dollar, comes from the American taxpayers. None of it belongs to us. In the last year, we spent $7.6 trillion, largely due to an unprecedented global pandemic. The Biden administration has shown no sign of slowing down and is starting to alarm more than just conservatives. It's our responsibility to hold this administration accountable and prove to the American people that there's someone left on Capitol Hill who cares about our debts. We need to return to federalism, where the federal government, the state, and the individual have their own distinct roles. In order to combat aggressive spending, we need an aggressive plan. That brings us to this year's budget, aptly named Reclaiming Our Fiscal Future. President Trump's budget proposal to Congress would have balanced in 15 years. That was our starting point, and we knew we were capable of balancing in less than 10. I'm proud to say that our budget will balance in just 5 years. And many of you would ask, how is that even possible? There are 2 parts to that answer. The first part is due to changes in inflation and interest costs following the COVID-19 pandemic. The second is due to pro-growth policies like the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. When we give Americans more control of their own money, the result is market growth, wage growth, consumer confidence, and yes, increased revenues for the federal government. We're making provisions from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act permanent, reducing the tax burden by $1.9 trillion, almost $16,000 per household. We're shielding the middle class from capital gains taxes, eliminating the death taxes, and repealing market-distorting tax carve-outs. Our budget is the most pro-life budget ever introduced, with 17 pieces of pro-life legislation included. Our budget stands strong for the issues Americans care about, and we're crystal clear about how to pay for it. We're securing our border and building the wall. We're protecting your Second Amendment rights. We're supporting our police officers and ensuring our communities remain safe for everyone. Our budget includes over 30 specific deregulation bills ensuring liberty for American job creators and workers alike. We're putting Medicare and Social Security on a path to solvency without cutting immediate benefits. Whether you call them earmarks or community project funding, we're getting rid of it for good, reforming the budget process to be transparent and effective. To put it simply, we're fighting for Main Street America. Tonight, you'll hear from many of my colleagues who helped shape this budget, whether as a member of the task force or by contributing legislation that's included in our budget. These members all have something very important in common: a deep respect for the American taxpayer. It's our job to ensure that Americans' tax dollars are being spent wisely, that the government is making every effort to prevent waste and promote efficiency. It's pretty clear this hasn't been the case in Washington for a long time. I'll now yield 5 minutes to my dear friend from Texas,